Alright guys, what's up? I'm here to answer another question that I get all the time about top ends. How long should you let them go for? How often should you rebuild them? How does it change bike to bike? This is one of the most argued things on the entire internet, guys. You'll see people say, I think the Japanese manuals say to change top ends every 6 races or something. Well, every 6 races, you know, that could be as little as every 3 hours. You'll hear other people say, well, I let my bike ran for 300, 400, 500 hours on a stock top end. You're stupid if you change it before then. Let me listen. Both of those are completely ridiculous, guys. There is a happy medium, and there is a difference between the engine running and the engine running at a level where it's not getting microscopic wear constantly and costing your wallet money. Oh. See the wear on the skirt of this piston? That's mud, but that's wear. And this motor's junk, guys. That's the only reason why we took this one apart so muddy, is because it's just being parted out, each piece cleaned individually, and it's being junked. But to move on, top end maintenance, guys, is super cheaper and quicker than rebuilding a motor that's been destroyed. So the cylinder on this one's sitting here on the side, but let's talk straight hours. If you're talking hours, your bike's manual does have a recommended hourly rebuild schedule, but for some more real world numbers, here's what I like to go by. Small bikes, 65s, 85s, 50s, 2-strokes, every 20 hours, piston and ring, max. And I've got extensive experience with KX65s and KX85s, and I'm telling you, you get a real experienced rider, you want to bring that down to about 10. For 250Fs, now they're pretty good. You can go about 35 hours and be safe. 252 strokes, somewhere around 40 hours. And the newer 450s are really good. We used to do our 450s at about 40 hours, and they've gotten a lot better just in the last 5 or 6 years. Now we're letting them stretch maybe on the first build to 80 hours, and then doing every 60 after that. But you generally, on the new 450s, you can be safe upwards of 100, 120 hours, something like that, at least on your first build. So, but like I said, we do ours every 60. Now, generally, when you're adjusting valves, you can pop the head off and kind of get a look at your piston and rings and see what it looks like. Never take the cylinder off and break the seal on these rings without replacing the piston and rings. Some people will just do 4-stroke rings. It's not really recommended. Do the piston and rings. Don't break the seal on that cylinder in these rings unless you're going to change it. So what can you listen for? You can listen for slap. Pistons can wear down loose enough to slap inside the cylinder. So if you hear like a little low rattle, if you hear a rattle at low RPM that worsens as you rev, but quiets at higher RPM, you might be about to break a piston skirt or wreck a cylinder or do something even worse. So cut it off right then. Now, what are the foolproof ways of checking to see if you need a top end? Well, on the 2-stroke, it's a compression test, real simple and easy. Beware of the compression testers at Harbor Freight and places like that, and I'm going to do another video on that soon. Use a good compression tester like a Motion Pro. Just goes in your spark plug hole on your 2-stroke, and you just kick it over while holding the throttle open, and your compression numbers will be in your manual. I'm going to do another video on how to check compression, but that's how you'll check on a 2-stroke. on a 4-stroke, you generally need to do a leak down test because of the auto decompression releases, which is like this right here. You're going to want to do a leak down test. To do a leak down test, to make it short, you put the piston at top dead center and you pressurize the combustion chamber with air through the spark plug cap, and you listen for leaks. And if you get leaks through the valves, if you get leaks through the intake, through the exhaust, then you can kind of tell where it's coming from or what the problem is. You can also pull the radiator cap and watch for bubbles in the radiator, which will signify a blown head gasket. Basically, when you replace the top end, examine the wear and measure the gaps in the piston cylinder clearance and put those notes into your maintenance log. And you'll kind of have an idea at what your wear rate is and when you need to replace it. But I'm telling you guys, if you're doing the work yourself, you can do a top end on a 450 for $200. It is so worth it, man. It makes it feel so much crisper and snappier, and just gives you that peace of mind. Everything's tighter. I understand if you take it to a lot of dealerships, you can be looking at $700, $800, $900 plus for a top end. It's really sad, but being as it is 2017, guys, YouTube, anybody halfway competent, if they take the time and patience, can do a top end by themselves. Bottom ends get a little more intense, but top end anybody can handle. So yeah, you can shoot me any questions. I appreciate you watching. These are just my recommendations, guys. I've been doing this for a while, and everybody's got their own opinions, but I appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe, man. Stick around.